and welcome to this upper body strengthening yoga class. I'm going to be leading you through poses to strengthen the arms, the wrists, the hands, the shoulders and the core. Poses that really ignite that strength. And as a sort of reward and a cool down at the end, you may have been wondering why I've got a couple of tennis balls here. We're going to do some myofascial release. So do the whole sequence so that at the end you can really bliss out with some wonderful techniques that I've learned on how to release trigger points all around your neck and your upper back. It's going to be really good. So pause the video now, go and get a couple of tennis balls, come back again and join me. And also, those of you who haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. I put up new classes every Friday, so press that subscription button so that you can be alerted when I put up new classes. Please begin in child's pose. So come to hands and knees, big toes touch. Have your knees just wide apart enough for your belly and your chest to land, so not too wide. And sink down onto your heels. Walk your hands forward. I say not too wide because if your knees are really wide, you really start to flatten out the lower back, and I want you to keep a nice rounding and lengthening here. And bring your forehead to your floor or onto your, perhaps you have a blanket or a towel there or a block. Otherwise, it doesn't matter if your head doesn't touch the floor. It's stretching out the lower back here, and of course you're stretching out your shoulders here a little bit as well. Just using child's pose here to really arrive. You've brought your body here, you've set up your camera, your screen, your mat. Now really bring your mind here, bring your presence here. Child's pose is a really good way to encourage that. A couple of deeper breaths. Really encourage your breath to travel throughout your lungs, down to the base and the sides of your lungs. Bringing some ease and calm before we come into strong poses. Now come up to hands and knees. For downward facing dog, separate your feet, tuck your toes under, lift up your knees and press back. Feet nice and wide apart here, almost to the edges of your mat, and the same with your hands. So look forward, make sure that your little fingers are almost touching the edges of the mat as your index fingers point forwards. Let your head hang. Now bring your awareness to your arms and the inner elbows, the inner elbow line, the crease. Turn those slightly forward and up towards the ceiling so that you even feel like your armpits kind of draw underneath your chest. You separate your shoulders on your back. When you do this, you'll probably feel the base of your thumbs and index fingers rise up. Press them down. So your inner hands are pressing down, but you're turning your inner elbow creases forwards to broaden your shoulder blades. If you don't get that, don't worry. I'll be talking more about it later. I just want you to have a little bit more space and ease in your upper back and your neck. Now come forward into plank. So move your chest forward, push the floor away, and really do push down through the base of your thumbs and your index fingers in all poses where you're carrying some body weight in your arms. And your hands and your wrists. This protects the inner wrists. Go back to downward facing dog. So draw your navel up to your spine, lift up, press back, stretching out again. Now put a little bend in your knees and look forwards and walk your feet to the top of the mat. Coming to standing forward fold, feet about hip width apart, nice and wide. When in doubt, a little bit wider. Press your fingers down and raise your chest, look up. The thumbs and little fingers might peel off the floor. Keep 3 fingers of each hand on the mat and press your shoulders back. Squeeze your legs. Now go back to downward facing dog. Walk your feet back. Bring your knees down to the floor. Then bring your left elbow down and then your right elbow down so that your forearms are parallel. Now walk your left leg back straight. Then your right leg back straight as you press your shoulders towards your feet so you haven't got your shoulders kind of dragging forwards towards your ears. They're really pressed back. And press your elbows towards each other and draw your navel up towards your spine, forearm plank. About 5 more seconds here. If you need to bring your knees to the floor, please do. It's a good modification. Now do bring your knees to the floor. Come back onto your left hand, then your right hand, and go back to downward facing dog. Inhale back into plank. Bring your knees to the floor. Right elbow down, left elbow down. Keep your knees down if you need to. Press your elbows towards each other, or step your right leg back straight, then your left leg. Press your shoulders again back towards your feet. Draw your navel up to your spine. Even press your legs slightly towards each other so you feel your inner thighs tone. Bring your knees back down to the floor if they're not already there. Right hand flat where the elbow was, then the left. Back to downward facing dog. Lift up, press back. Arms and shoulders now already working pretty hard, right? And you can feel them burning. We're not going to only work on them today, otherwise it will be too much. So I'll interspace the upper body work with a little bit of stretching in the hips as well. Now bend your knees and look forwards and step just your right foot forward in between your hands. So here comes the first one of the hip openers. Bring the back knee down and keep your fingertips on the floor. Now as you keep your fingers down, press your hands down and maybe move your pelvis a little bit more forward. Raise your chest, look up. And bring your right hand, then your left hand onto your thigh and bring yourself up. Raise your chest, broaden your collarbones. Changing your arms, interlace your fingers and press the palms of your hands away from you, stretching your wrists. Keep your arms like this, parallel to the floor, or bring your arms up more overhead and maybe more overhead. Press your hands up towards the ceiling. Bring your hands halfway down if they're not already there. Turn your palms to face you. Look down at the floor, touch down, and go back to downward facing dog. Lift up and press back. Press your heels down. Again, the inner elbow creases turn up towards the ceiling as you press down through the base of your thumbs. Now bend your knees and look forwards and step your left foot forward between your hands. Bring your back knee down and keep your hands on the floor to begin with. Press your front foot to the back of the mat. Engage the muscles around your bottom, around your pelvis. Maybe bend that front knee a little bit more, stretching the front of the right hip. Bring your hands one by one onto your thigh and push your chest up. Raise your chest. Now you're going to interlace your fingers the awkward way, the way that you don't normally. So do that, the other thumb on top. Press your hands again away from each other, stretching the wrists again. Keep your arms like this as you soften your shoulders, or bring your arms up higher, or perhaps higher still. And press your hands up to the ceiling if they are facing up that way, and bring your arms back a little bit more. So you're opening up your shoulders here as you open up your wrists. Turn the right rib slightly forward. Bring your hands halfway down. Turn your palms to face you. Look down, touch down, back to downward facing dog. Lift up the back knee and step back. Take a couple of breaths here. Now, lengthen the stance of your downward facing dog. So turn your heels in and out so that you can move your feet back. You feel like you're coming into a down dog that's too long. Keep that. Move your chest forward so you're coming into plank. Again, it feels too long. Now, separate your feet nice and wide so that you can turn both of your heels over to the left. So the inner right foot goes down and the outer left foot goes down. Stay like this with both of your hands on the floor. Or, as you press your left shoulder towards your feet, pick your right arm up parallel to the floor. Stay with this, or bring your arm all the way up, coming into side plank. Now, if you know any variations in side plank that you're working on at the moment, please feel free to go a bit freestyle here. Whatever you're doing, with the top hand, turn the palm so it's more over your head, and then reach it long over your ear. So you're coming into a nice shoulder opening here. Keep pressing the bottom shoulder towards your feet. Now bring that top arm back up again. Look down, touch down, go back to downward facing dog. I've gone back to my normal down dog. So now I need to lengthen it. You do the same if that's the case. Move your feet back. This is protect your wrists when you come into side plank. Move your chest forward into a normal plank. See the angle of my arm here. It's not straight down below my shoulder. It's a little further away. This is kinder to the shoulder and the wrist. Feet nice and wide apart so that you can now turn both your heels over to the right, blading the inner and outer edges of your feet down. Stay like this with your left hand down or bring your arm up halfway. Squeeze your bottom, lift up the side waist away from your mat, possibly bring the top hand up. And again, your version, do whatever you did on the other side on this side. So if you want to do tree pose or the full Vashisthasana, please be my guest. Choose to look down, across or up. 3, 2, now turn your palm and bring your arm over your ear. Reach and stretch. 1, squeeze your legs. Bring your arm up to vertical. Look down, touch down. Back again to downward facing dog. Now for a little bit of a respite, bring your knees to the floor and come into child's pose. We're not going to hold this very long. And in this child's pose, walk your hands together so that your thumbs touch and you get more of a side stretch on the outer shoulders. Inchworm your fingers forward so that they're really as far away from your knees as possible, with your bottom still heavy on your heels. Raise your head, look at your hands, separate your hands, and go back to downward facing dog. When you get here to down dog, walk your hands all the way back towards your feet. Bring your hands onto your hips, bend your knees, come up to standing, and then step wide on your mat. Bring your arms up. We're going to keep the arms up for quite a long time here. Press your hands away from each other and really stretch your arms. Warrior 2. Look at your right foot, pivot on the heel, and turn the toes forward. Bend the right knee. Stretch your arms and squeeze your arms, the base of your arms, up into your arm bones, really hugging the muscles onto the bone. Check that your right knee is going over your middle toe. Now for the other side, keep your arms like this. Straighten your right leg, turn the toes forward, turn the left foot out, bend the left leg. Stretch your arms. Look over your left hand. Your left arm is right over the thigh. So the knee is pointing forwards. 3, squeeze your arms, stretch your hands away from each other like you want to win the longest arms competition. 2, 1. Straighten the left leg, keep the arms, turn the left foot forward. Now interlace your hands behind your back, stretch your knuckles down to the floor and fold forward. Bring your navel into your spine when you do this and push your feet down and towards each other. Deep, smooth breathing here as you release your shoulders, squeeze your legs, squeeze your thighs, so your kneecaps lift up and you stretch the backs of your legs. Bend your knees, hinge all the way up to standing again. Release your fingers, bring your hands onto your hips, heel toe your feet together, and come into a squat. Bring your arms ahead of you, bend your knees, come down, squeeze your legs together. Bring your hands down to the floor and come into a high kneeling position. Lolasana, pendulum pose. This is a big one for the arms and the core. Bring your hands down to the floor and rock your weight a little bit more forward so that you stretch your wrist. Now ease your weight back on towards your feet and turn your hands so that your fingers are pointing back. We're just preparing for Lolasana here, stretching the wrists a little better. Lean back again so you get more of a wrist stretch. Keep pushing down through the base of your wrists when you do this, the heels of your hands. Come back, move your chest forward again. Then spin your hands to the normal position. Now, hands on the floor. From here, cross your shins. So bring your left shin on top of your right shin. Then walk your hands back even more.
so that your hands are either sides of your knees. Push the floor away from you so that you can pick your knees up off the floor, or at least so that your knees feel a little lighter, and draw your thighs in towards your chest. Please feel free to just stay like this as you draw your navel into your spine, or perhaps you might be able to bounce your feet a little closer forward and pick up one foot. Now, if that's going okay, maybe you can pick up the other foot as well for Lolasana.
Then bring everything down. That's a tough one, right? Now we have to do the other side. There is another side. Walk your hands forward, uncross and cross the other way. This is the other side. Walk your hands back. Push your hands down. Remember, the base of the thumbs and index fingers are really pushing down here. Don't rely on the outer edges of your hands and wrists. Push your hands into the floor, bring your knees up. Stay like this, or pick up one foot. Stay like this, or move your feet slightly forward and maybe pick up the other foot. 3, 2, 1, come down. Bring your hands forward, uncross your feet, sit onto your heels and do a little bit of a flamenco dance. Very slow motion flamenco dance for your wrists. Even make little fists with your hands and turn the fists down. Now bring your hands down to the floor. We're going to do one more pose for the abs, Navasana, and then we're going to do the myofascial release. The end is nigh. Bring your hands onto the floor behind you and raise your chest. Think of yourself as sitting on a tripod with your 2 sitting bones and your tailbone. Don't lean back too much. Sitting bones, really feel the weight on them. For some variations, pick up just your right foot, bring it down, pick up the left foot, bring it down. Now you can continue with these single leg raises or pick up one foot and the other foot. So either 2 or 1 at a time. Keep your hands on the floor behind you or pick your arms up. Remember, the tailbone is on the floor, but the 2 sitting bones are really down too. Draw your navel in, stay like this, or legs straight. Keep breathing. 3, 2, 1. Then come part way down. So if you're doing single leg raises, you might find that this is accessible. This is called Ardha Navasana, half boat pose. Then come back up again into the feet up or back into single leg raises. Knees bent. Now come all the way down. Bring your hands to the floor, lengthen your legs long, and turn your feet to the left and the right just to release any muscle tension you have here. Stay with me. I know this isn't a very popular pose. We're going to do it again, and then we'll do the myofascial release. Bring your feet to the floor. Remember, there are options. Hands on the floor behind you. Raise your chest. Pick up the other foot first. Put it down. Then the second. Put it down. Continue with this. Or pick up that foot and the other foot meets it. Raise your chest. Draw your navel in. Keep your hands on the floor behind you or arms outstretched. Relax your shoulders. Keep with this or straighten your legs. 3, 2, this is called Pariparna Navasana. 1. Now halfway down. 3, 2, so you're on your lower back here. 1. Come back up again with your knees bent, arms up, so stage 2. And then release everything. Bring your hands onto the floor. And again, those windscreen wipers. Now, tennis balls. You've earned it. So a lot of tension can be carried in our upper back and our shoulders. So we're going to place the tennis balls on the mat like this. So do this with me. The good thing about the sticky mat is they won't ping away. So do use the mat. And we're going to work first on the upper shoulders here, this soft tissue up here, which often gets very, very tense without us even knowing it, or stays a little bit tense for a long period of the day. So keep your knees bent to begin with, and come down, placing, it's a little bit of a kerfuffle coming into this, but I want you to begin with the tennis balls not at the neck, but just at the base of the neck. And by the way, if you want a little bit more pressure here, and you have a yoga block, you can put it underneath your pelvis
and you've got a bit more weight pressing back onto your shoulders. So just like this. Find that spot in your upper back where you feel that trigger point, that point where the muscles have got this tension in them, so that when you actually rest your body weight onto the tennis balls, it actually feels quite uncomfortable. But with time, maybe just 15, 20 seconds, that discomfort starts to dissipate. Now, if you've got long hair, get it out of the way here, because rolling over it on the tennis ball can catch the hairs and it's painful. Now you're going to move your body backwards a little bit. The tennis balls will move slightly, but I want you to roll back so that the tennis balls go down a little bit more, and then stop. Just moving down about 1 centimeter or 2, about 1 inch. And then go back again, move your head back so that you're probably finding places now that are getting more interesting. And if you're not feeling any tough trigger points, another good technique is to cross your arms over your chest here, and you will feel it deeper. And you might even find that moving a tiny bit to the left and the right helps to massage out a little bit more any of those knots that you're finding. If you have crossed your arms, uncross them, bring your hands to the floor and go back even more. If you've gone right to the back of the mat, just scooch yourself down a little bit and start again. I'm right in between the shoulder blades here now. Just notice where you are and how it feels, so that in the future you can repeat this. Now cross your arms again. Cross them the other way. Quite a good idea to cross them one way for maybe 20 seconds, and the other way, the other arm closest to your chest for the second half of the release. Now I know I said this was the blissful bit. It probably doesn't feel blissful now, but when you've come out of this, I promise you will feel good. Okay, let's go one bit further down. Bring your arms to the floor, scooch down that little bit more. If you have got the block underneath your pelvis here, you're going to need to move it each time, but it's worth it, right? And then find that spot. I even find I like to sort of just go up a little bit, up and down, as well as side to side, and find that spot. Cross your arms. Another good trick for the shoulders and the upper back is to put a tennis ball in a sock and to stand up. And when you've got the tennis ball in a sock, you can lean against the wall with the sock and ball in between your shoulder. So you can hold the sock end so that the tennis ball doesn't drop down onto the floor behind you, and lean back one by one. So one tennis ball on one side and then change sides to the other. I'll do another class later in a few weeks on that. But I think you get what I mean, right? And then from here, bring your arms down to the floor. Push your elbows into the floor so that you can pick your back up and come up into a seated position here. Notice how you feel. Roll your shoulders back a couple of times and then forwards. Hug your shoulders and then hug them the other way. There's my dog, Luffy. And then bring your arms into cactus arms. Bring your hands to the floor behind you, raise your chest. And then bring your hands onto your legs. And we're done. If you want to come into Shavasana, please feel free to do that. Otherwise, thank you for practicing yoga with me today. I hope that this has set you up for a wonderful day. Remember to do that trigger point work if you've been spending a lot of time on the computer or driving or whatever. It's just a wonderful way to ease open that upper back. If you like this class, please click on the thumbs up. If you have any questions or suggestions, please put them in the comments box below, and remember to subscribe. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Namaste.